Joining us today is Ludie Hansen. She is an environmental health advocate and holistic wellness expert. Before we dive into actionable steps, I'd love for you to share your story, Ludie. What led you to this journey of exploring environmental health and helping others detox their lives?
Well, it's very interesting. I've spent 34 plus years of my life as a speech language pathologist, working, hospitals, skilled nursing, just about everywhere, and had my own private practice. And the thing that sort of turned my life around was when we found out my daughter had cancer.
Hmm.
And she was 29 at the time.
Oh, my.
And we just sat there and rubbed our heads like, what, how, why? Because we've never had it in our family. I started a journey to find out why. Why is this possible? We went through her journey. I almost lost her. She had an allergic reaction to the chemotherapy, and they ended up just having to do surgery right away. And exactly a year later, it all came back. So she had it a second time, and we had to go through all of it again, which made me delve even deeper. And fortunately, we're at the 1 year mark of her being cancer free. So that's a very positive piece to kind of know that we're doing well, but we needed to change some things and hopefully get to the point where nothing else was going to happen. And that's how I got into researching toxins and what's out there and what's harming our families.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so good to hear that your daughter is doing well. I also had cancer and have been cancer free now for over a year. And that's how I
Nice.
got into my journey. So
Okay.
I can definitely identify with how scary it is and
Yes,
how you hold your breath every step of the way and then try to do everything in your power not to get it back. Which is
that's
why I
exactly
love
what.
having you here because there are so many of us struggling with this, and we need people like you out there that can help us along our health and wellness journey. So I really do appreciate it. Can you please tell me what environmental toxins are and how they impact our daily lives?
Absolutely. Well, toxins are basically harmful substances that can damage our living organisms. Some of the natural sources are like bacterial toxins, plant compounds, even venom from animals. In the environment, we have our industrial chemicals, we have pesticides, air pollutants, and then there's food additives as well. Some of the common health effects are, our organs get damaged, especially the liver and the kidneys, because they're our filtration system. And the nervous system gets disrupted. There's cell damage, which is where cancer comes from. And then there's a whole slew of hormonal imbalances that can occur. There's a lot that can happen with toxins.
And what types of toxins are we speaking about, and where do we get them from?
Like I said before, there's just toxins in everything. We get toxins from the air we breathe, a lot of the cleaning products that we use every day, a cold, a bacteria infection, things like that are toxins as well. So we just want to stay as healthy as we can and do our best.
So if I were going to go through my house and try to clean up some of the toxins in my home, can you give me an idea of where I might be able to start?
I started personally with cleaning products because it was the thing that was just in my face. I found out that Windex is so toxic that it leaves someone with normal lungs looking like they've been smoking their entire life,
Oh, wow.
just having been around it, the exposure to it. So I started right away with cleaning products and getting those switched out. Our hair care, our skin care, our makeup, those are all places where we can be exposed. So there's so much. There's stuff in our food. we eat, the color additives, different things, the preservatives they might put in food. So just being aware of what's there and knowing how to look for it is going to help you the most.
And where can we get some resources on what to look for?
Absolutely. I would say looking at doing an internet search, there are some specific ingredients that are the worst of the worst. So we don't want any chlorine bleach. We don't want any parabens, which are the scents that they put in products. I never can say this word right. The
Phthalates?
phthalates. Thank you. I
Yes.
always say it wrong. It looks so weird. And as a speech therapist, I want to do it phonetically. So, knowing to look at your ingredients is really important. There are a lot of websites out there that can help you. Again, internet searches can help you find the bad of the bad. And I personally am a good resource. I've created my own website
Oh,
that lists a lot of issues and how to make transitions. And hopefully we can get that posted somehow.
yes, we will. What is the website, by the way?
The website is simple.lifewithludie, and Ludie is LUDIE.com. It just gives you some basic information. I have a second website that's just Life with Ludie as well. It taps more into the communication and the children's side as well. So there's the two different websites that can help you.
Lovely. We'll post those in the show notes for our listeners. So let me ask you, if I were going to prepare a meal for my family and I'm going through my cupboards, what should I be looking for so that I can eliminate some of the toxins and put in the healthy components for a good, healthy meal for my family?
The main thing you want to do is avoid the processed foods. So looking through your cabinets is great, but we want to make sure, like when you shop, you want to shop around the outer edges of the grocery store because that is mostly the non-processed foods. So there are some okay foods out there. They've started putting them in the grocery stores. So you're going to look for artificial additives. You don't want that. Canned foods can have BPA in them, so you want to be careful about those. When you're going through your cabinet, finding the freshest things you can, things that haven't sat on the shelf for extensive periods of time. So those are the things. And then if you're jumping in your fridge, obviously the fresh fruit, the fresh vegetables, things like that are the best, but you want to make sure you're washing them really, really well. Not just that spray stuff that says it takes it away, but do it a good washing. There are high fruit corn syrup is something you don't want to have a lot of. MSG and aspartame, nitrates and nitrites. So if you see those in the ingredient lists, and that's the best way for you to find out if what you have on your shelf is good or not, really going through those ingredient lists. If you don't understand the words, it's probably not the best.
So what I'm getting is less is more.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, now what about my personal care products? What should I be looking for when I want to switch out and use healthier options?
Absolutely. Well, you want to look for things that are certified all natural. Some of the ingredients that you want to avoid are the parabens. Those are the ones that make the scents. The one you helped me say a minute ago.
Phthalates.
Phthalates. um, Triclosan, synthetic fragrances. Again, that's part of the parabens. Oxybenzone. One of the other ones is sodium lauryl sulfate. So any sulfate is not good for your personal care products. And those are big red flags to avoid.
Now, are these items listed on the products for us to see, like with food?
Yes, they should be. They may have a different name or worded different. So sometimes you have to take these words and say, how else can they, ask Google, how else can they be stated? Because sugar is stated in oh, I don't know how many different ways. It's the high, might say there's no sugar, but they're going to have high fructose corn syrup in there, or, different things like that. Formaldehyde. Can you believe there's
Oh, yes,
formaldehyde in our products?
formaldehyde. I just heard that
Oh,
it's in our makeup
n-
brushes, in our food.
everything.
In,
Oh,
it's amazing.
it's
I,
scary.
I've
Yes.
started using the Environmental Working Group website, EWG.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I've been going into that website and putting in the items that I have, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
astounded. I've had to get rid of so much. I am slowly but surely starting to replace my items as I do a little bit more research. So I know that's one good
That is a very good website, and it just eluded me. I'm glad you brought it up because it is a place where you can actually check,
check.
your
Yeah,
products and
yeah.
see if they pass the clean test, I guess I'll say.
Now, another thing that I just recently heard of, which I didn't realize, is even our clothing we have to be careful with. I hear that when we sweat in our exercise clothing, that we can absorb the toxins, and that there are other materials that we need to be concerned about. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can talk a little bit. It's not my biggest strength, I will say. But a lot of times the fabrics and clothing will have a fire retardant on them, and it's the products they use for those fire retardants. So if you think about sheets, kids' pajamas used to be just that was a big deal to make sure they were fire retardant. And our curtains, our everyday fabrics that are with us. The fire retardant is what sticks out to me. I know there are some others. It's the chemicals they soak them in and the dyes and other things, but you're absolutely right that those can just absorb into our system as we sweat, and it's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. And do you know anything about EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, and how they affect us?
Their effect is very interesting. We have sound wave. Our body is full of waves, and we react to the minor sounds. It's like sometimes where artistic kids are so sensitive to lights, they can hear the sounds of those lights that we may not be able to. And it just becomes very disturbing, very stressful to our body, and stress causes inflammation, and it's like a snowball. And again, the EMFs are not one of my strengths of knowing as much about, but I do know from working with the children with autism and working with adults with dementia and Parkinson's, their senses are heightened and they feel vibrations. And I've had other people that don't have those diseases that are sensitive to them as well, and my daughter is one of them.
Yes, it's quite interesting. I hear that particular light bulbs flicker and that can really throw someone off. Also, certain light switches. So it's absolutely amazing the things that we have in our house that might not interfere with our lives, but to somebody that is more sensitive, they are extremely affected, and it can affect behavior, it can affect emotions, and that's a whole nother area when we talk about environmental toxins that we do need to consider. It's not just our food and our clothing.
That's correct. Mm, it's
So, for somebody such as myself that is just getting into detoxifying my life and my body and my home, how can we start? How can we make small, manageable changes so that we don't feel so overwhelmed, but feel that we are accomplishing and contributing to making our lives healthier for ourselves and our family?
absolutely. It's a big question because it can be extremely overwhelming especially hearing what we're saying right now, that they're everywhere. I would say at home, one of the first things you can do is remove your shoes at the door.
That's a
We're
good
out
one.
there tracking around, don't bring it through the house if you can prevent it. Take those shoes off at the door. Open your windows and daily to get some ventilation in your house. A lot of toxins just come from the dust in the air. So if we can ventilate, that is one of the big things. And like I did, one of the first things I did was switch to my natural cleaning products, and I found a store that really helps me. I don't have to mix my own. You can mix your own. There's nothing wrong with mixing your own, but myself timing, I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have the time to find the right, you know, ratios and everything. But I found I call it the wellness store. I don't sell from it. I promote them because they're an easy source to get wonderful non-toxic products from. Our water, use a really good filtration system. Even if you're using one that just filters by the glass, you know, filter out what you can out of your waters. Use stainless steel bottles and avoid plastic bottles or glass bottles. Use glass or stainless steel and avoid the plastics. Those are some simple things you can do.
And some of
I
them are
think I mentioned
free.
it. Yeah, and those are yes, for the free things. In the kitchen, I think I mentioned it before, just really clean that produce thoroughly. These are things you can do that you have and you're acting in your house already. These are little things you can do to really help. Try to shop organic if you can, and certified organic, because organic can mean anything, but if they're certified, they are a little more regulated.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
You had mentioned where you're getting your cleaning products. Is this a website that you can share with us and that we can put in the show notes?
Actually, the best way for them to get it is to come through my website because
Okay.
it's a membership store, and
Ah, okay.
I am able to help them get a membership. The membership is not expensive. Right now, I can get an annual membership for $1.
Oh, that's lovely.
It is, and then after that, it's 19.99 a year. So it's very simple. It's just a membership like a Costco or something. And, I can certainly share more information with anybody that would like to know more about it and how to use them. Um, I'm happy to do that, and I call it the wellness store. You can probably look it up. It has, um, just amazing foods, clean cleaning products, clean, facial care. It has a luxury line of makeup and skincare that is phenomenal. I recently started using it, and I've already noticed changes. And, it's cheaper than say you use Lady Gaga makeup now. It's better, non-toxic, and cheaper. So, it is a high quality, product for your makeup and your shampoos and things like that, and then they have the natural regular products too that aren't as expensive, but my shampoo is 20 bucks. I'm like, that's if you go out and buy good shampoo, you're gonna pay that anyway. But most of the time you can get everything they sell cheaper because they manufacture from the ground up. They keep everything there. Their products are not stored for months on end overseas, maybe in China or Singapore. I don't remember which one, or maybe it's both, and then transferred across the ocean and then sit in warehouses again. The nice thing about the products that come from this store is that you have them within 5 weeks of them being made. So you're getting really good products. But because they manufacture from the ground up, and do everything in one warehouse. They have researchers that do significant research on products. You're basically getting your products at 1990s prices because as inflation has hit the world, it hasn't hit them. They have no debt. They're amazing. And then they're made in America. So they're right here in America too. So that's my rant.
Well, that's great because my next question for you before we wrap up is, what are your thoughts on how we can make America healthy again?
That's one of the things I'm really working at is buying American products from this store because we know they are healthy. We know they don't have the dyes in them for the foods. We know they don't have the chemicals. We know they don't have the yucky stuff that we don't want, all the sugars, the high sugar and all that. I am actually going to start their program. It's called R3 Weight Loss. And the R3 is to basically you stop eating certain foods, then you reintroduce them, and then you continue to make changes so that you're eating healthy and in the process losing weight. So that starts in January, and I'm looking very forward to being a part of that. Getting outside and moving around again. One of the things I read as I was looking, for answering this question other than my own store that I promote, not my own store, the store I promote, um, was getting communities that are walkable. That would be amazing. And I know there's places that are doing that more. Um, Getting recess back in the schools. I work in a middle school and they don't have a recess. Um, I think they still do it in elementary school, but at the middle school level, they have 30 minutes to eat lunch and take a break, and then they're back in
Wow.
class.
Wow.
I know. It's
That's
insane.
surprising.
Yeah, it's just insane. But that is a release. That is a way to get fresh air. And there's so many ways we can make America healthy again, but eating clean, cleaning clean, makeuping clean, and just your skincare products and everything, just replace one by one as things run out. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's something that's really important to not be overwhelmed. As you run out of a product, say, oh, I think I want to buy this in a clean version. And, do your research. There's Tom's out there. There's other ones. And then there's the wellness store, obviously, and most of which you can get for a lot cheaper. There's resources out there. The wellness store is not the only one. And I just say, do what you can to transition that helps you the best.
Wonderful. Well, Ludie, it was so wonderful having you on. I'd love to have you back again to do a deeper dive and possibly get into your work with autistic children. That is something else that I am sure that our viewers would love to hear about. We're at the end of a year. I wish you a very happy and healthy new year. And my love goes out to your daughter. May she be healthy and well. And thank you so very, very much for joining us today.
And thank you for having me.
We will see you again soon. Thank you.